Hey friends, what's going on? Welcome to today's live stream. So we had a bit of a change of plans here because we were originally going to do some, we'll finish that track from the last live stream using Overbridge with the Digitact sending into the DAW, but yesterday, right before I did the members stream testing out that setup, Overbridge decided I'm not going to work. And I tried basically everything possible to diagnose what the issue is, but I was running short on time, so I threw up a poll, and you all voted that we mess with Sound Generator and see what we can do for using it for beat making. Because last time we covered Sound Generator, it was to make ambient soundscapes. And so today I want to talk about using it to do synths for beat making and things like that. And there's a couple synth recipes I want to test out. One of them, I want to try to get something a little closer to like a digital piano or something like that. We'll see. We're going to test it out. I've got the notes like last time up here on my other screen, but I wanted to say hey to Alvaro and Levi who are in the chat. Welcome. What's going on? Thanks for joining. Everybody else in there, say hi. We've got a poll running. 50% says yes on using Sound Generator and beats. 50% says no. Interesting to hear that. We'll see what happens as we go, but I love using Sound Generator. We're going to not just use the simple Sound Generator sounds. We're going to use merge sample to make more complex sounds. I was originally going to do the drums live, but I figured just to save a little time, and with all the chaos that has been going on right now, we've got this drum loop. This is the warped wax kit from my new retro rewind sample pack. I have a discount code in the chat if you're not in the chat, in the description if you want to check it out, and then channel members, you've already got it if you're on the Solar Sailor tier. But anyways, this is the little beat. We'll probably change it in TR rec mode as we go, but I want something to kind of start the sounds with. But let's get right into Sound Generator. So we're just gonna hit shift record setting to get right there, and then I find Sound Generator is always super loud, so we're gonna just tone it down quite a bit. So let me check my synth recipe. What we're gonna do is a sine wave, a triangle wave, and then a very low pulse wave, and I think that's gonna get us something kind of approximating a FM key or digital key. And there's a lot we can do in the post, because as you probably know, when you just export Sound Generator, it kind of sounds like crap because the filter's just wide open. Tem's in the chat. Hey, how's it going? Okay, so we're going to hit the C note because I want everything to be on C just for chromatic mode later. I think we'll do 2 octave, up 2, just to start. And we're just going to record that in. Let's put it on 1. There we go. And then let's go back to this, and we're going to do triangle. I might make a couple extra waveforms or waves just to kind of have it. This triangle is going to add a little more harmonic content, and then the biggest bit of harmonic content is going to come from that pulse that we're going to put, but we're not going to use a lot of it. That's what I'm saying. When you just hit Sound Generator, if you're not familiar with it, it's a little rough, but we'll fix that once we kind of put them all together. And for those who've tuned into other live streams, I still haven't been able to update to 4.5, so we might run into that resample bug. It's not a big deal. It'll restart, and then we'll be good to go. But anyways, just if you see the screen just go, then we know it's the resample bug. Okay, so here's the 3. And that pulse is really loud. That's why we're only going to use a little bit. But we're going to go to Shift Resample. That gets us into Merge Sample. And this is kind of where we can get the more complex sounds. So sine wave, we want it at 100%. Triangle, 100%. This one, though, we want to drop it. Let's do 20%. And I don't believe there's a way to test the sound. I might be wrong, but to my knowledge, there's no way to kind of preview what this percentage mix is going to be. So we're just going to have to guess and see how it goes. Now, we'll just put it on 4, and we'll hit resample. And there we go. So you can hear that higher harmonic content from the triangle, and this pulse is there. Still sounds a little wonky, so that's why we're going to do some effects now. So I think we're going to do a filter. And I've got, let me see if I can, I've got a subtle LFO on super filter. If you hold down the knob, you can sync it, and then rate and depth. So here we go. I've got just a 1-to-1, so it's just slowly opening this filter, which kind of plays with the resonance a little bit. Hear how it kind of opens up. Let's put the depth up to 100, and you'll see what I'm saying. If we drop the cutoff, hear that boom? That's the LFO. So we're gonna go back to 30 though. I just want a little bit. And I think we'll do about 65. Hear it without it, hear it with it, maybe a little more. I want to smooth out some of that pulse that's in there. I like that. Okay, so next up, let's do... There's a couple options. I think we will put 404 vinyl sim on it, but that will do in bus 3 and 4 because we're going to resample this. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to kind of get that more FM piano type sound. Let's do a Juno chorus. We'll stick with Juno 1 and a really low percentage, maybe, yeah, 9 wet. Makes it a little wider and then also gives it a little detune, which I like. We're going to go for that detune because I want to kind of emulate that subtle, like, you know, a piano being a little off and things like that. There's a lot we could do also with kind of varying velocities and things like that, but we'll see. We'll get there when we get there. Let's see. 50. Boy, that poll keeps changing. I love seeing that. Thanks to everybody for voting. But it went 50, then 60. I saw it at 75 on yes for a minute. But yeah, interesting. I'd love to hear if you are using it, what you find, how you're using it. Let me know in the chat. I think that's one of the best things about the SP community. We all kind of share what we're doing. So yeah. All right, so we've got those two. That's the sound. Let's just throw it here so we can kind of hear it really quickly. So it's getting there, but I think we're going to want bus 3 and 4. And I've got a vinyl sim one. If we just take off the noise, it's adding a little wow and flutter. That might be a lot of wow and flutter. Maybe we'll do 42. And then I've got compressor on there, which is good in terms of like the master track. But I'm wondering if we can get something a little different. Maybe lo-fi. That's dry. I like that. I actually like that a lot. Let's do that. Let's resample that and we'll put it right here. Okay, that should do it. And then we need to shut off everything on bus 3 and 4. There we go. I like that. Okay, let's just do a last little bit of cleaning up the sample. We can truncate that. There we go. And then I think we'll want to do a little less hold, maybe a little release. I like that. Let's hear that in chromatic mode. Gotta put it to poly. That's a wrong note. Like that. Okay, I think we got it. Let's see. We need a little effect though, you know, to kind of sweeten it up. Maybe Kodama. That's kind of my go-to typically. I think we'll try that. That should work. I actually really like that. Now see, this is, I almost kind of want that an octave higher. And I suppose we could resample it, but let's turn on that beat and see how it fares with that. Oh, I like that. I like that. Yeah, I really like that. I think we just need to get the sound a little bit lower probably to match with those drums a little bit. And we'll kind of even everything up in the end with bus 3 and 4, the special sauce that we always use. But let's get that part in. I know we can obviously always delete parts and stuff, but it was such a mess before with all the Overbridge stuff. I want to keep this as kind of like low issue or low problematic, so we're just going to copy it and then just build from there. I do want to, though, we're at 90 BPM. I think we'll keep it at 90 for now, but what I do want to do is, this is just a 2-bar loop. I want to duplicate that to 4, and we're going to do it on this one as well. So we'll just hit pattern edit, get out of that, hold on, hit pattern edit and duplicate this one as well, just so we have it. Levi says, you're really the king of the sound generator. I don't know about that, but it is awesome to use, and I want to show everybody how powerful it is, because if you've got the SP, yeah, sampling's awesome and stuff, but if you want to throw sounds on top, you don't necessarily have to buy some external instrument. If you just want to put sounds in a pattern or something, there's a lot you can do with this, and that's, I think, the best part to do. Let's see, we've got, is that Crittenden 4? Do you use a MIDI keyboard to play your synth sounds? I finally completed configuring my setup last night, and I must say the keyboard makes the sound generator a near full synth. Awesome. Are you using just sound generator? Because what I like to do to get the polyphony is to get all the filters and stuff, because I hate that raw sound from sound generator. Are you resampling to then create a polyphonic chord? Because yeah, I think that's something I should do in the near future. Maybe in a future live stream we'll explore that. Typically I like to sequence the SP if I'm using other gear with the Digitact, but we had some issues there earlier, so the Digitact is on a break right now. It's chilling in the corner in the Dallas desk. I wanted to stick simple, but yeah, I'm getting a lot better at using this as the keyboard. I actually, in my SP404 cheat sheet, I made a chord guide that has all the different ways, like all the different chord shapes you can do, the majors, the minors, the sevenths, all that type of stuff. And that's been super helpful. And then of course you can always do the key in chromatic mode. But yeah, that's kind of the big thing. I haven't tried, though, to answer your question, Crittenden. I haven't tried the keyboard. I will, though. That's a really good idea. I'm happy to hear that you're doing that. That's very cool. Anyways, let's get back to that pattern. And let's go in, and we're going to turn, I think we'll do 8th. And this could go horribly wrong, and whatever. But we'll do an 8th quantized with 72. And then let's find, what was, I think it was 5. Just waiting for the bar to return. Okay, I like that. And we could do chords or something like that, because we are in polyphony. I hit that one little double, but we'll see, because I might add a pad on top or something like that. The only issue I think we might run into is that octave thing, where if I'd done a higher octave for that lead, it probably would give more space for the pad, but we'll face that when we come to it. Max says, the MIDI keyboard isn't monophonic, is it? Max, you're probably asking Crittenden, but I would assume it's not, because unless you're in Sound Generator, which is what I was mentioning, Sound Generator, when you're in it, like when you hit record setting and get that sound, that is monophonic. But if you do what we just did, where you make all the sounds, merge them together, or just do a single sample, you can go into polyphony in chromatic mode by just hitting remain. So I would assume if you're using a MIDI keyboard and you do it this way, it should be polyphonic. I know the SP has, what, like 32 voice polyphony, but I don't know what the max polyphony for polyphonic chromatic mode is. That's a good question, though. I should probably look into that. Samuel says, Digitact repping Sweden. Yeah, I love the Digitact. I've just had quite a few issues with it, like with Overbridge. I've been having issues with that and things like that, but it's nothing that stops me from using it. I mean, I can obviously always just plug in the 1/4-inch cables or whatever, so it's all good, but I really like the concept of Overbridge for finishing tracks that you make with a Dallas setup. So I got to figure out what the issue is. I might contact them, but first I'm going to reinstall Overbridge and see if that does it. But yeah, that's what we were going to do for today's live stream before Overbridge just completely stopped working. But that's okay. I'm always happy to make beats with the SP404. So let's get back into it. We've got this, and I'm just gonna up the, sorry, it makes it sound like a wrong note because we're in a different key than what the patch is, but I think that's good. Okay, perfect. I like that. Okay, and I like that Kodama on there. We can change it a little bit if we want to. So we need a bass, so I think we'll do bass next, and then we'll just go from there. I do kind of want to try a pad. We'll see. And a lead, so we'll do a couple more sound designs. Now this sound was the only one that I actually made notes for because I really wanted to try to get that piano type sound. So we're gonna just kind of see what we're feeling in terms of bass and things like that. So I'm gonna clear out these three. We might use that sine wave for something. So let's just clear these out, and then let's get two sounds. We'll do a 2 oscillator, basically, bass. So what do we want to do? I think it's always nice to do a really deep sine wave. I don't even know if you can hear it because, you know, going through if you're on speakers or something, but we'll do this sine wave. That's going to add the oomph, so to speak. So we'll put that on 2. And then let's go record setting. Let's get, I think we'll do a saw. We don't want Kodama on, but it's not gonna, the effect won't get baked in when we do it this way anyways. Okay, so those are the 2 sounds we're gonna use, and we could even put that, we could have a higher octave, but I think we'll leave it there. So I'm just reading the answer. Crittenden's posting, yep, it's polyphonic. Make your bass tone just like Sunwarper did. Pop your SP into chromatic mode, set your scale, and use channel 16. 11 is for the vocoder. Oh, interesting. Okay, channel 16. So that means probably if you're using the Digitact as the MIDI control, if you set one of the channels on the Digi to 16, it should be the same. Okay, I'm gonna have to try that in a future live stream with the keyboard, but also with that Digitact, because that was the one thing I was missing on sequencing the SP with the Digi. I always use chromatic mode, so I wanted to check that out. But now, thanks to Crittenden, we might have the solution. So I'll try that in a future live stream. Anyways, yeah, Levi, I agree. A higher octave would be nice. I think I don't like the sound of that saw, so we're gonna up that an octave. That's almost too high though. You know what? We can always do both, right? We get 4 for Bridge sample. Oh yeah, there we go. Good call, Levi. I might tone down the main octave. We'll see. Let's just let's go to merge sample and get these on, and we'll go from there. I think we'll lower the higher octave one a little bit. Another thing we can do too that's kind of fun is you make one that's like 5 or 7 semitones up. That could be pretty cool too, but I think we might try that for like a lead. Yeah, I hear you, Levi. I figured you meant layer. Okay, so hear that just open filter? That's the one thing I wish you could do. Well, envelopes would be nice because they don't seem to work in Sound Generator, but I wish you could put a filter in Sound Generator before you bake it, because now we have to do it. But that's fine because we can add a couple other things. I'm gonna add that Juno chorus, and I'm almost tempted for 4 and 5. Yeah, okay, we'll go here. We're gonna go to Oscillator. We're not gonna use it to isolate. We're gonna use it as an equalizer, which I think there is an equalizer in 3 and 4, but that's okay. So we're gonna just change the sound. I'm gonna up the low end a little bit. There we go. And we'll change that filter because I don't know if I want that much LFO on there. On bus 4 though, let's get some warm saturator. Okay. There's a lot of high end though, so I'm gonna tame that a little more. And then let's go back into bus 1. Let's fix that LFO to be a lot less. I still want a little bit so that it kind of makes it almost analog or whatever, in the sense that there's always kind of something moving. I think what we can do too though is let's make a faster LFO, maybe. There we go. So it kind of flows a little more. I like that. I always forget to extend the length of the sound generator though. We probably could use a longer sound. That's decent enough, but when you're using chromatic mode, it's pitching up and down, which alters the speed. So if we start going into higher, it could be a little problematic. But anyways, let's take that and let's resample it and hope we don't run into that glitch. Okay, seems like it's working. All right, let's go into the start end. Make sure there's no silence at the start. There's a little bit. There we go. And then let's cut that end point. That should work. Let's truncate it. And then envelope. I almost want a little attack to kind of sit underneath the kick. Sort of sidechain, or poor man's sidechain, I guess, for the SP404. Would really like to see that added as an effect, but we'll get there, I guess. There's always 5.0, right? Okay, that should work. Perfect. Let's hear how that sounds with what we got. Oh, we gotta shut off. I was like, why does it sound so weird? Bus 3 and 4. That's not what we want for the bus 3 and 4. Yeah, that's a lot cleaner. I was like, wow, that sounds really weird. Okay, let's get into chromatic mode. Okay, I'm just trying to find the right. I like that. Yeah, let's do that. I think I'm kind of hearing something else, but I don't really want to take too long to do it. So I think we'll just go with that bass line. We'll make another one. I'm also kind of thinking when I do these copies, it's also thinking in terms of structure later, because we're obviously going to want a part that's just the drums and the melody, the bass melody and drums. And then I think we'll add maybe some keys or something like chords on top or a pad. We'll get there though. Let's get that bass in for now, and then we'll go from there. And these, I think, I'm gonna up the quantize a little more. I want that a little cleaner. Okay, and we could mess with the release because it's kind of a long hold. So let's go into that bass. Let's go back into the envelope. That's a long release. So we could also mess with the hold so it's a more percussive, quicker bass tone. Let's hear how that sounds. Let's get into that envelope live. Almost want a little more high end in that bass, but we'll probably Maybe you want to flesh out the drums, so we can kind of add some kick and things like that. That might make it a little more interesting. It's a very simple drum loop for now. I also think that's a sleepy beat. I'm kind of thinking, what if we up it a little bit? Maybe 97? And let's see how that sounds. I kind of like it a little faster. But let me know in the chat what you prefer. Faster or slower? 90 or 97? I'm going to stick with 97 for now. Looks like it made all of them 97, so we're good there. Let's see. Oh, we got to get the bass off bus 1 though. That's this one, yeah. Let's put it to bus 2 so it doesn't have the Kodama on it. Levi says faster. I agree. I almost think maybe even a little faster, but I want to do some drum additions before we get there, like maybe some ghost notes and things like that. And that might groove it up enough to where 97 is like where we want it. Sometimes I think faster and faster, and then really all you needed is more groove and like more ghost notes and things like that to kind of get that human element to the drums and things like that. Anyways, I'm thinking I want to lead. So let's clear out that Kodama. Let's clear out the those bass origins or whatever, and we're gonna stick with that, I think. And then I'm gonna make a lead. Could turn into kind of a pad or something. We'll see. But let's do. I think we'll do a saw. I love saw waves. So, but we're gonna go up to 3 because I believe. It's been a minute since we started the video, but I believe the little arpeggio, whatever you want to call it, that like piano sound we made was at octave 2. So we're going to do that. And let's put it here. That's not where we want that one. So I'm going to do that again. It's supposed to be, that's why. Yeah, I was like, that's not where we want it. Okay, so we're going to put that here. Okay, and now we've got that octave sine wave, so that can kind of add something interesting. But what we're also going to do is copy 2, which is that new saw, and we're going to go into this one. And if we hold shift, we're just going to fine tune it a little bit to get it kind of off. Hear that? It's a little, let me shut off the Kodama. But hear that kind of chorusing effect? So that's kind of, we're just adding a little more thickness to it. So now we'll put those together, and I'm going to put the sine pretty quiet. We'll see, because I really want kind of like I want something that stands out from this sound, which is already kind of sine wave-esque, but I'm kind of vibing that kind of sine tone at the moment for this track. But we'll see. We'll do all of the filtering and all that as well. So let's go shift resample. That is not what we want. Shift resample. There we go. And let's go up to that sine wave, which should be, yeah, F1. And we'll just put it at about, let's say, 43%. Random number, but that's what we'll do. Let's resample it. Okay, and now let's clear out those 2. I'm keeping this one because we still might just go back to that sine wave. We'll see. But from there, let's take that nasty sound and get a filter on there. Okay, see, so I actually think the sine is a little too loud. But that's okay, because I think what we'll just do, maybe we can get away with... if we go to that Oscillator and warm saturator, wherever that was, here we go. Let's go kind of change it a little bit. That works. Still not a fan of that sine though, actually, but I deleted those. I was too forward thinking. I deleted those 2. So, I mean, we can always remake it. It's no problem. But let's just see how this sounds, and then we can always go back. The other thing I want to do is add instead of, well, let's try warm saturator. Let's really bring those highs back, take out those lows a little bit. No, I don't like warm saturator on that. Let's do I'm thinking that chorus, but maybe this could be interesting when we get it in chromatic mode. Let's see. This is an adventure, right? Let's see what happens. Okay. Hear the difference? Okay. Let's just see when we throw that with Kodama. Okay, let's hear. We gotta throw off bus 3 and 4. Keep doing that and surprise myself with the sound. I'm like, what did I do wrong? Okay, here we go. Okay, it's really loud, so let's tone it down before we do anything else. Maybe 45, let's see. Kind of like that. Oh, I like that. Okay. And we could even add variation where the first time we do it, it doesn't have those higher notes. We can take those out or something. Let's put that in though. I like that. I'd almost say we record it twice, but I probably don't even remember what I just did to record it once. So better we just do it once and then we can just edit it maybe in TR rec mode or something. Let's go here. I think we'll stick with the 8th. Let's up the quantize. I'm doing kind of varying things of quantize just to kind of see what happens. Last note bugs me. Okay, so the quantize isn't gonna work because it doesn't get that groove. We could put shuffle or we could try 16. I think we'll try 16 and just do less and not mind if it gets a little wonky because, hey, that's fine. All right, let's go drop it down. Let's go to 16. I don't like using the shuffles. I find whenever I do it, it's always problematic, the shuffle quantize. So we'll just go to the grid of 16 and drop the quantize a bit. That last note. Yeah, there we go. Whoop, don't want that one. Hear how that 9 goes. No, still don't like it. I think we want 8 maybe. Yeah, that works. Kind of lullaby-esque with that little pattern at the end there. Okay. I like where we're at. I think we might want a pad, but before we do a pad, let's just let's try and add some ghost notes and things like that in this pattern. I think it's shift record, we go right into TR rec mode. I'm gonna shut off the metronome so we don't have that going because we do not need that right now. All right, let's go to the kick. That's not the right kick. That's the right kick. Okay, again, I'm in the wrong. Why is that kick? There we go, that's why. Okay, let's see it run through. Okay, here, let's drop the velocity a little bit. And let's do a really quiet one on 15. 7. And we can even mess with kind of the start times too. This one, let's drop that velocity down. Let's not do that one actually, yeah. Okay, and then let's get that start time back. That's a really dragged start. Okay, so we're doing low velocity on 8 and 14. And here we go. If we look at that, we can see the bar we're on. So let's go 60 for this one. And then I think we did, let's do 60 for this one. And let's do maybe a louder one there. And let's go just a little off. That's a lot. Okay, and then maybe there. Just if you hold shift, it's a little more. There we go. Let's put 1 on 15 too. There we go. Perfect. Okay, now let's get, I think that's our snare. Let's get some ghost notes there. We're gonna go off a little bit. Okay, we want even quieter actually. Let's do like, can we get, no, we can't get, I'd love to get like 2. But we'll do 1 on that one, 5 for that one, 5 for that one, and then 1 again here. And let's just do that on each of them. And let's do another one on 12, 1. Let's do a little, see what happens with that snare roll. That's weird, we're getting some clashing there. Let's take that 12 off. Okay, let's go back. Alright, last one. Let's go here, 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 and right there. And let's do 10 there. And a much louder snare. I don't like that, but let's keep that right there. There we go, perfect. All right, and maybe we want to thicken up the hi-hat too, actually. Add a little more hi-hat. And we can always go in and change it. See what that's like. I like that. And I think, I can't remember, we might have, let's take that and let's go in and, oh, there's a way to live record things now, I think. What is it, the record button? Kind of like it adds a little mess to it, but in that way I kind of like it. We might not keep that, we'll see, but I kind of like where that is. Okay, let's just go, I think if we just go in here, let's pan these a little bit. Okay, what are we thinking? Should we do a pad? I'm thinking maybe just test out trying a pad. I don't know. I like what we have, but everything is very arpeggiated and things like that. So I kind of want to try a pad. I'm thinking we give it a pad. Let's see what we got. I think, I want to say, man, I forget what bank we were even working in. There's so much going on in this. Let's see. Okay, F. Okay, we're in F. So let's see what we can do for a pad. What type of pad do we want to make? Maybe a triangle. I'm going to stick with that octave that we did this arpeggiated sound in, or piano type sound. Let's stick with that sine wave, but let's also add, I think we'll do a, ooh, maybe cosine. Cosine might be cool. And let's, before we forget, what is it? If you hold shift. Yeah, I think we're actually not going to use that, that sine wave. And I'll explain why in a second. So I'm making the pad length. This is what I was saying I always forget. We're going to make it a little bit longer so that it has much more to work with in chromatic mode, because I want this to be a pad. So here how that one cuts off much quicker. So we're going to delete that one and let's make a triangle. There we go. That should work. And hopefully it's C. Yeah, that works. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so let's combine those two together. We may want to thicken it up though. Yeah, I'll tell you what. We'll copy the triangle over one, and then we're gonna go into pitch and do that little fine tune. There we go. Okay, so let's get those together. Shift resample. Shift resample. There we go. And I'm gonna do 100% for all of them. Resample. Okay, now we're gonna just, I know last time it almost didn't work out by deleting, but it did work out in the end. So let's delete that and just see what we got. Okay, so we need to do a filter. Now see, I'm using bus 1 for everything in the song. So that's why I have to kind of bake in a resonant or a filter. I'm looking at resonator, so maybe say it. Otherwise, I would have a filter on bus 1 that could control a sound. I would love to see that, or use the input effect. That would be nice, you know, that 5th bus effect. But that's why I've got to record in these filters, because I'd much rather be able to have control over one of these to like do some filter changes live, like kind of automation to bring things up, bring things down. So I'm a little more, I take the cutoff a lot further down than I would want, because I'd want to be able to kind of do that. But that's why I use that LFO to kind of cheat it a little bit and give me a little room to like bring that motion or automation into the recording a little bit. So I'm gonna put it to, I don't like that. I think we'll go back to 1-1. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. And then let's go bus 2. Really digging that Juno chorus, but I'm almost wondering if there's something else we'd want. But the chorus is just like perfect for what we're going for. It widens it up. Let's add a little noise though to this one. And then let's go into bus 3 and 4. What's that? 404 and lo-fi. Oh. That might be the winner. Yeah, let's check that out. So we got that. That should work. And then let's go into the lo-fi. There we go. Let's go lo-fi. What if we go 100? I like that. Okay. Sometimes I kind of second guess myself when I'm doing it, and I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work, some of the tones I'm hearing. But then when you bake it in and you play it with chords and things like that, it all comes together. So I guess just kind of experiment, see the end result, and then you can always go back and work backwards and figure out what you didn't like. Kind of like, what was it with this? I thought that sine being a lower octave wasn't going to work, but in the context of the track, when playing, it actually seemed to work really well. So anyways, let's get this baked in. And we've been pretty good, but we might run into that resample issue because we're trying our luck, but let's do it. And I'm going to yeah, I wanted that to ring out. I probably should have even done a longer pad, like 6 seconds, but that's okay. Let's see if this works. Let's get that Kodama back on. There we go. That Kodama kind of like makes everything fit a little better. Obviously, if we were working in a DAW or something like that, we could do EQ. We could kind of fix things around in that way, but the Kodama just kind of is the cheat to kind of gel it all together. And then the last thing will be the bus 3 and 4 secret sauce that kind of just brings everything in. Okay, let's check out that pad though. Let's go to Poly. Like that. I'm just gonna record it in. We can always not use it, but it might be cool for a B-side or B section, I should say. So let's, I don't know what quantize we're in, but that we can definitely quantize. We'll get out of TR-Rec mode, but we can quantize that probably in quarter. And I'm gonna put that up quite a bit. And let's just get that one. Oh, I shut the metronome off though. All right, so we're gonna have to let it run through because I don't want to start it late. That 15 in. There we go. Let's shut that metronome off. I like that. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if this fits. Levi says this is going to be good in B section for sure. I don't know if I would use that in this full part. But that's why we can just copy different parts and kind of experiment. And I think we've got all the building blocks of the track. So I think quickly we'll just do a little structure and then we can call it. But yeah, so let's check out. So we've got this idea. And the other thing that I would want to do too, and I don't know if I do it just right now on the live stream, but one thing I would do is change up the drum variations kind of every pattern, and then we'll do dropouts. We will do a couple of those dropouts in the patterns, but like maybe when the first part comes in, we'll use this simpler drum and then we can bring in kind of everything. So let's just start sequencing our idea. So I think that's the intro, that little MR says make a banger. Yeah, I don't know, this is almost to me sounding like Mario 64 stuff or something, but that's the beauty of live. You just don't know what's going to come out of it. But I really wanted that kind of soft digital piano sound, and that's all from Sound Generator, like an FM, like this guy actually, the Korg Volca FM. It's not quite there, and I think if I had a lot more time and patience, what I would probably do is different variations that kind of have, or different velocities, all that type of stuff. So if you do this experiment, I would recommend turning off fixed velocity, and especially when you're doing the pianos, just remember to turn it back on when you're doing the drums if you're live performing the drums, because that'll be a little weird with the unfixed velocity just changing all over the place. But so we've got that. Let's go into this one, which is the simpler drum, and then we'll go in here, copy it again, and we'll make a drop out of that. And in here, let's go into TR-Rec mode. See, shift record. I always hit resample. The drums are here, so let's go. You can either do the dropout at the start or at the end, but I think we'll do it at the end. And we'll do on the hi-hat, we'll do some sub-step at a higher velocity. Let's see. MR says, I just got here, haven't heard anything yet. I'm sure it is a banger already. Well, hopefully as you hear it, it is. This is what, like the quieter part. We're working on structure right now, but I kind of actually like that snare hitting. Let's do something, hold on. Oh, I forgot we got the substep on. It's like, whoa. Let's get the substep back. I like that. And we might up the BPM still. Remember how I said I wasn't sure if we were gonna, once we started adding velocity, but I think we might want to. MR says that's nice. Well, I'm glad you're digging it, yeah. This is the full one, MR. And we're gonna tone down that pad and use that in an B section. But yeah, all these sounds, I know you say you just got here, all of those besides the drums are from my new sample pack, but they're all from Sound Generator. So when it's done, if you want to rewatch to see kind of the recipes and stuff, but I will be adding all the recipes to my SP404 cheat sheet. So if you already have that, email me for the update once I get it up, or check the link in the description to grab that. It's a good resource, great resource for easy to reference ways to navigate like all the crazy button combos and stuff of the SP. But anyways, got our little part, got that first drum, then we got that dropout. So I think then next we'll add the bass and the more complex drums to kind of be like the chorus. Then we'll bring in a dropout that has what's it called? Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just get this one first and we'll go from there. So now we've got, oh shoot, actually hold on. We want to only have a couple of the parts. We're still working on everything. Hold on. I don't know why that got all weird. Let's hit remain. Here we go. So we want this and the bass. I think those are the two that we're going to want. And then all of the drums, but that kind of crazy one. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, see, okay, so listening back, I do wish the bass had a little more distortion, and because of trying to keep things clean and tidy, I deleted all those like bass components, so we'd have to completely redo it. So we're gonna leave it here, but when I listen to this, I mean, we'll see. Putting on the special sauce, it's a little better, but I still would like the bass to be a little thicker with some distortion and stuff. That's all right, it's still gonna work. We could do something like lo-fi, and that's gonna really grit it up, add that distortion, but I don't like that, so we'll go back and we'll do that cassette. You know what, I actually add a little drive on cassette. It's getting a little clippy, that's okay, maybe a little age, not the catch. MR did a $5 super chat. Thanks a ton. Yeah, MR, if you've got any questions or anything, feel free to post them. I'm happy to answer. Okay, so we got that. So soft part into the simple drums. We'll have this drop out. Let's see how this sounds. There we go. Perfect. Okay, really like those ghost notes on the snares and the drums. Now, the next part that we'll do, we're gonna move that over, and it's gonna be just like that 11, but we'll drop out the drums at the start. I think 3's our lead. Man, I can't remember which is our lead. I think it's 3, and then bass, and then we want all the drums. I'm gonna put that weird little other hi-hat, and let's see. Okay. I almost wish we would have kept that lead there. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll drop out the drums at the start of this track. So we're gonna go into TR rec mode in this pattern. We're gonna go to the kick, drop that, and put one. Okay, wait. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And let's go to 10. We don't want that. We want how that sounds. We may want to do a longer. I like that. Okay, and let's go into that lead, which that. We need that first one. Okay, so I'm gonna just live record that in then, because why not, right? Alright, let's get... I totally forgot the part we're playing though, so we'll have to put it in rehearsal mode. That was it, okay. Different, but let's see how that sounds, because it might have, I don't know what the quantize was, so we're gonna have to see how that goes. Yeah, that's what I thought. That almost kind of works, but the quantize was way off, so we're gonna, I think it's still set to a quarter, so we're gonna need to drop that quantize a bit. Yeah, we're gonna want 16 for that, and then drop this down a little bit. There we go. Okay, now let's do that. Oh, hold up, getting ahead of myself here. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to turn the metronome back on once it starts. Let's hear how that sounds. I think we got it this time. Okay, so that I think will lead really nicely into just the main everything, like the chorus, so to speak, I guess we'd call it. MR says, any general tips when arranging clips, scenes for a recorded track? Thanks for doing this, by the way. It sounds good. I appreciate that. And when you're talking arranging clips and scenes, let me know what you mean, but I'm assuming you mean kind of what we're doing here. So the way I think of it is kind of in blocks. Like I'm working on a whole thing about like block-based beat making, and kind of thinking each of these is a block, but you can also think of making the beat as a block where you have an intro, a build-up. You know, when we're talking beats, it's usually kind of the same part, right? Repeated in loops or whatever. So I kind of think of it in this block where you're building up, which is what we're doing here. You have these options where you can do dropouts. You could have the drums drop out. I think we did this one at the end, but you can do it at the start. And that's all to create dynamics. You can also think the way we're doing ghost notes. So I think MR, you came on late, but when we started the track, the drums were a lot simpler. If you listen just to the drums, and if you'd like, I can isolate the drums for you, but there's not a lot going on. Let me just show you here though, when we got to the final version, listen to what the drums are doing. There's a lot more. Hear the little ghost notes? Let me go and I'll show you the comparison here. Here we go. So this is what the drums originally were. It's very straight on, right? There's groove, like there's a little off time and stuff. But if we go to what we did with all the ghost notes that we added, you can hear snares. There's additional kicks. And then I think what I would also do to kind of keep going and things like that, in each of these, I would add some drum changes. Like if in this one, I would add a couple kicks or ghost snares or something, or sub-step hi-hats. In this one, I would add some different ones. So every loop isn't exactly the same loop. So to the ear, it's new every time. That's kind of the way you want to think. You want stuff to always kind of, something kind of always new is coming in or dropping out, or things are changing a little bit. Maybe the hi-hat, you take out the hi-hat. We're going to do a little bit more because we need to make that B section. Let me just clear out these drums. I hope those were the ones I think that we just made. Let's make that B section though. So let's go, let me just check actually before I do too much. Yeah, this is everything put together, but I forgot what we don't want in there, excuse me, is the that pad. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna find everything but the pad. I don't know why sometimes it's not showing anything when I copied the pad. Anyways, let's hit remain. So we want this, 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 and all of these, and that's gonna be our like first chorus or big build-up, right? Okay, perfect. Now let's make that B section, and we'll put that, I'm trying to think mapping wise, probably 16, because I'm thinking follow logically or let it flow. So 9 is the intro, these are the first, like the build-up, this is the getting bigger, bass comes in, lead starts being kind of teased, whatever have you. Then we go into the full sound, then 16, and then we'll end with 5, but I'm going to move it to 8 where everything's in it, even that pad. We'll see if that works. I think it will, but we'll see. MMR says, like online, it just says A, B, A, etc. The advice you gave is good. Thanks. I'll let you cook. I like the ghosties. Yeah, if I'm happy to answer questions. We cook and answer questions at the same time. It's all good, MR. So if you've got further questions, let me know. Hopefully, as we do this, though, it answers some of those questions. But I think that's the big thing is variation, velocity changes, adding new parts. I'll talk more about that lead thing I did in a second. Let me just get this B section. So we just want the pad. Let's do the bass, and then I think no hi-hat, but we will do the little rim. And let's hear how that sounds, because that should be a nice little... Let's tone down that pad a little bit. I'd almost like to drop it an octave, but we'd have to resample the octave drop and then switch. We could try it. Let's hear with the volume drop though. Okay, I like that. Let's also make, this is gonna get messy. So I think what we're gonna need to do actually is exchange this one to 7. We're just gonna have to remember we're going against my usual format, but that's okay because we need more space. I could always delete these, but I want them just in case. You never know when you want to go back to the simpler versions and stuff. Anyways, what we're gonna do is copy this one more time. It's doing that thing again. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It shouldn't, but anyways, put that there, hit remain, did it again. Yeah, that's weird. Anyways, let's go here, there it is. Okay, so we're gonna bring the lead in, but we might alter it a little bit. And then we'll bring the hi-hat in. So we're building the B section back up to cue us into that big climax crescendo, whatever we want to call it. Let's copy that in. So we have the B section, which is the pads, no hi-hats, except there might be one. And then we're gonna simplify that lead. We're gonna do that thing again. We drop out all of the... We're gonna leave that last one, and we're gonna do a drum drop out to cue us into the ending. Let's go to that last guy. Substep again. Back to normal. We're not doing another substep. Let's do one more substep actually. Right. Actually, a little less velocity. Let's get some more velocity movement there. I like that. And that should get us right into the chorus. Now the only thing is ideally, I would like that lead to be quieter in this part. But I don't feel like changing it a bunch. Anyways, what I wanted to say, and more to the point of the shaping the structure and stuff, the build up kind of like leading into, actually I think we'll take that lead down in general. Let me find it. But you want to kind of like, if you have a cool part that's complex or kind of a lot going on in it, you can kind of build into that complexity. So start it smaller. That's why we removed in that lead what was going on between 9 and 16 on each bar to kind of simplify it so the ear's getting used to it, and then it becomes a bigger thing when we go into the final chorus. So I think that's about it for the track. If you guys have any further questions, post them before we call this one done. This is my new vinyl. It's coming out. That was the intro song. It's coming out this coming Friday. Everything made on this was made just on the SP404 with lots of sequencing. And I've got a live set on Saturday coming out on the YouTube. That's out at the pool with my dogs, just playing these jams with pattern sequencing. And then I'm going to do an explainer talking about ways to use pattern sequencing for live performance, because if you're a fan of the channel, we've made a lot of videos about live performance on the SP with like one-shots and chopping up sounds and stuff, but I've never talked about pattern sequencing like in full. And this whole live set was done with the pattern sequencer. So that's coming out. That's going to be pretty awesome. And yeah, Levi, it's a 7-inch. It's out on Friday, golden hour. So let me pull it out. You can see it. Here we go. Yeah, it's a lathe cut vinyl. So, but I made a specific vinyl master for it and all that, and it sounds pretty good for a lathe cut. Yeah, it's coming out. It's going to be on my Bandcamp. I've got the link to the Bandcamp in the description, and then SP404 cheat sheet. Channel members get it as part of the membership. Solar Sailors get all of these samples we made and all of the new retro rewind drum kits. But they're also up. You can check it out on my the link in the description. Because you're watching the stream, you're awesome. So there's a discount code that you can put in if you want to check out. It's 3 kits with a bunch of different loops that I made, as well as the one-shots for all of them. Let me see if I can find where I've got some like drum and bass ones if we shut off Kodama, but I've also got the one-shots, but it's all gritty, distorted kind of sounds to kind of emulate the SP202, SP1200, the old school MPCs with that like sample rate and all that type of stuff. Let's see, we've got a couple questions. I'm happy to answer these before we do the final jam. I just might forget the structure, so we'll have to check that out before the jam. So let's see, we've got Crittenden said, thank you for all the help. Just picked up the cheat sheet. Nice website too. Hey, appreciate it. I built that one using, I think, Wix. So I don't know coding, man. But it worked out pretty well, and I've still been incorporating it. I'm going to do a big update to the cheat sheet with these synth recipes that we made, because I really like that piano sound we got for this part. And that was a brand new one I made. And then these other ones, I've got to watch back this video because I don't remember what I did, but I'll upload those. It's got synth recipes for Sound Generator, all that. The only thing, Crittenden, just when I announced that the update is, just email me to get the update, because for some reason Wix doesn't let you just like download the new version, so it's weird. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But yeah, thanks a ton. That helps a ton, and I hope it really helps you work through the SP404. MR says, thank you, SP404 is great. Totally agree with you there. I'm learning to integrate it with my other equipment. You posting this video after. So this live stream will stay up. It's going to be up. I'll edit out the intro, that like 2-minute intro, but that's the track, Golden Hour, and that's one of the tracks from that live set that's coming out on Saturday, but I'll edit that out so it'll start. But yeah, you can rewatch this as much as you want. I may make an edited version of this later, but I've got other Sound Generator live streams where we did ambient sound design for like lush, long ambient soundscapes and stuff. Autograph says, it sounds great. Appreciate it, yeah. Looks like you and Levi know each other. Awesome, nice to see some friends here. Samuel says, super nice. What are some of your musical inspo? Boards of Canada is a huge one. It's probably kind of obvious. A lot of video game soundtracks, Aphex Twin, but I like a lot of metal. That's what I like grew up on. You can't see any of my guitars, but I mean, I have a half stack of a Mesa Boogie and Marshall and Master Chiefs up there too. But yeah, metal's like my big thing. I'm a guitarist first and foremost, so that's what I grew up on. So that's why I think Boards of Canada, even though it's so different from like metal and stuff, the grittiness, the dirt, the lo-fi, like why I love the SP and stuff, it's kind of like that distortion and stuff. And yeah, I don't know, it's just I love the SP. But anyways, yeah, Boards of Canada is a huge one. Alluvium, Stars at the Lid, lots of ambient type of stuff. That's why I like to have a lot of calming things under the beats and stuff. I wish we could do sidechain on here because I love ducking it, but that's why I do the SP with Koala Sampler. And then MR, you were saying integrating it with your other equipment. I'm curious if you got a second, what equipment do you have? Because I use this Dawless desk, and this is kind of the end of the chain, so everything gets processed in here. I even have a mixer with a new pedal board. You can check out, I think it's previous live streams, we actually built samples from that whole setup with the mini log and stuff into the Digitact, and then everything goes into here, and then I sequence everything with the Digitact. And so this, I've seen some people use this to MIDI sequence, and I gotta tell you, I'm not the biggest fan of its MIDI, but it's amazing to have MIDI send into here, because like 32 voice polyphony is absolutely crazy. So you can sequence on like the Digitact and have longer samples, all that type of stuff. So combining those two is like the super combo. Let's see. MR says, I grew up on post-hardcore. I don't know if we count it, but Thrice is one of my biggest influences and inspirations, the band Thrice. Their early stuff, I guess, fell under post-hardcore, but then they went into some really cool directions. Crittenden joined the Stargazer membership. Awesome, thanks. Yeah. You're amazing. Let's see. MR says MC707 and a JU06A. Oh yeah, that's like the Jupiter, the Roland. I have the TR08, the little one. I think it's like that. Gotten decently comfortable with it, and I want to live stream. Need to get better with the live. It says I can't see because there's a little like reaction thing. I'm sorry. The like something live techniques. Awesome. Yeah, live streaming is a lot of fun. So if you have any questions about it, hit me up. I'm happy to help. Autograph says, I'd say Thrice is post-hardcore. I'd definitely say their earlier stuff is, yeah, but I don't think things like Alchemy Index, maybe even Viesu, would... I guess it could. I don't know. MR says, more Devil Wears Prada. Okay, yeah, when I was in high school, my metal band, my other bandmates loved Devil Wears Prada. I didn't get into them at the time. But yeah. All right, I think with that, let's see what this pattern is again, because I got to remember. But again, if you got any more questions while I kind of sort through this, I'm happy to answer them. And then, yeah, let's see what we've got. So we've got the intro. We're going to want Kodama on. We've got quarter, but let's see. Sometimes I like that other one. Levi says, I grew up on Florida hardcore. Nice. Okay, so we've got that. We go into the drums. Oh, I know what we need to do. Speaking of structure and things like that, MR, I typically, instead of just going from this into the drums, I think we're going to need to go back to the quarter. So this will work, as you'll see. Like that works, right? But one thing I like to do is, let's just copy this so we have it clean. But at the end of this one, I like to kind of add the drum right at the end. I forget which... I think it's this one. No, we're on F. Man, I am like, yeah. So we're gonna do a kick right here. Not, yeah, on 4/4. We'll do that on there, and then another kick. Maybe let's hear how it sounds. But we're gonna add a hi-hat too with some substep. Let's go right. 15, and then here, drop the velocity, and another velocity. Okay, let's hear how that sounds now, and check it out. Poison the Well, dude, love Poison the Well, yes. Yeah, Under Oath as well, but yeah, Poison the Well, sick. Okay, which one had the drum? Was it 9? Let's see. Oh, I did it on the wrong, I did it on the wrong bar, so we'll have to redo that. Let's, actually, what is it on? No, it's on 1. I was gonna say we could drop the pattern, but no, it's okay. Okay, so let's double check we have that clean. Okay, here we go. See, I'm trying to do too much. Talking post-hardcore, my favorite stuff, but that's okay. I love talking about it. Let's go back though, and we're gonna go into TR rec mode and make sure we're on that last bar, and then we're gonna go kick, and we'll put it on 11 and 15. Snare's gonna go. Oh, we dropped the velocity. Hold on. Let's bring that velocity back. You always want to make sure pad or 127, whatever. And we're going to need those sub-steps back. And I think we'll do 14 at a lower velocity. 15, we're going to go with that ratchet or sub-step. Let's see what that one's like. And then that. Okay, that should work. I do a little more getting it off the grid by doing the start time and things like that, but I'll do that if I finish this track like for release or something, but we'll just call it there right now. So what we're gonna do is this one goes right into that. We've got that dropout. We've got the bass comes in. That's where we start teasing the lead and we drop the drums at the start. And then we've got the full chorus. Let's actually here, we need to do a little drum variety, okay? Because we gotta we're queuing into, it's so weird. Sometimes this thing just trips out today. Anyway, so we're gonna go back into here because I want to do some drum variation. Oh, that's because we're using these drums, that's why. I've got the same drums on 2 channels. Let's put it on 15. Let's go pad. Yeah, that works. And let's just get the hi-hat with some substep. Yeah, that's cool. Well, I almost like that. Actually, what we're also gonna do, see, as you do these things, you kind of realize, oh, this part will work in that other part. I want that substep. I think we did the 4. Because that's gonna lead right into 15, where that dropout comes. Check it out. We're almost there. Here we go. So that little change in the drum brings in that drop. If we were in a DAW, or if I had some transition effects, I would probably add some like white noise things, or you know, like little vocal chops or something like that to kind of give the ear that ear candy and insinuation that this is a new part, or we're changing something, or something's changing, to kind of always keep that forward momentum. But anyway, so we go 9 to 10 to 14 to 11 into 15 with that drop, full chorus. 7 is going to be our break, and what we might do for it is add like Oscillator, and then we go into 8. Now we're bringing the lead back, everything's starting to build back up. Maybe do like a reverb. That should work. Okay, I think with that, we're gonna call it. MR says, really appreciate you and gonna watch it back from the beginning later. Have to run errands. Nice track. No worries, MR. Great to have you here. Thanks for the super chat as well. Hope you enjoy the rewatch, and you can always let me know if you have questions or anything. But yeah, I think with that we're gonna call it. So vinyl out on Friday. Release is out on Spotify, all that as well on Friday, and then Saturday, pattern chain or pattern sequencing live set on the SP, and then next week an explainer. If you have any questions about pattern chaining, let me know. I already filmed the explainer, but I'm happy to put them in at the end or do them in like a live stream later or something like that. But yeah, lots of cool stuff happening, but I appreciate you hanging out. If you dig this type of stuff, if you want help with the SP, check out the cheat sheet, head to the memberships for these samples and things like that. And I do exclusive live streams as well, like yesterday we did a live stream, but we'll call it there. Appreciate you hanging out, and yeah, this beat turned out really cool. I like it. So I like these. I really like that main synth recipe. That that piano is awesome. I think one thing I'd like to do is do some chords with it for something else. You know, we can get some like really some nice chords from it, but that's for the future. We'll call it there though, and just jam out. So I'm gonna mute my mic, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.